Really great to be here. Thank you for coming. I'm going to take you through this research report, and you can pick up a physical copy of it later on today, Mind Over Money. Before I get started, just a quick minute on who I am and who Wagestream are. Wagestream is a financial well-being platform that's designed for individuals to manage their money. So we connect with employer data on shifts worked and pay, and we allow people to view that in an app so they get a really clear understanding of their income as it arises. They can access financial coaching, they can save directly from their pay, and they can manage their own pay cycle, amongst other things. And my job as Chief Impact Officer is to make sure that the products and services we deliver create a positive impact for our app members, and kind of to measure, manage, and monitor that impact and how it flows through to society as a whole. It's a super fun job. I highly recommend it. And as part of that, I own our program of academic research. So I want to take you through some recent findings of a report we published. But the first thing I want to do is talk to you a little bit about money and mental health. And I don't think anyone will be shocked when I tell you there's a connection between money and mental health. The connection is so strong that Martin Lewis of money saving expert fame founded the Money and Mental Health Policy Institute to actually study the connection of money and mental health. But we did a pulse survey. We took a representative sample of 2,000 UK employees last month, and we asked them some questions, and our findings were really stark. So 54%, over half of this sort of representative sample, felt that their mental health had declined in the most recent 3 months due to money worries. Okay, and that's I'm not focusing on a particular segment of the population. I'm saying broadly, a representative sample, over half had felt that money worries were so substantial that their mental health was declining. 1 in 5, so 21%, were worrying about money every single day, right? That's a lot of weight to carry if you're worrying about money every single day. I probably think about money a lot. I'm thinking about if the base rate's going to change, my mortgage fixed term is about to expire, but I wouldn't say I'm worrying about it every day, but 1 in 5 of us are. And for a third of people, again, nationally representative, they're telling us that their sleep has worsened because of this. So a third of people are not sleeping as well. And if you've ever suffered poor sleep, you know as well as I do that sleep is almost magical in its health qualities. Sleep affects almost every system in your body. Your immune system, your hormones, your blood pressure, your heart health, your appetite. So like when your sleep is affected, it's really, really significant. And we're seeing that a third of people are telling us that their sleep is affected due to money worries. And for 23%, nearly a quarter, that means they're having a hard time making decisions about money, and that's really problematic. So if you're worrying about money to the extent that you can't make productive decisions about money, you get caught in a bit of a vicious circle. So I kind of wanted to lay that fairly depressing groundwork for you, and then talk to you a little bit about some research we've been doing. And I promise I'm going to finish on a positive. I'm going to give you some takeaways and action plans and things you can do to kind of make this better for your workforce. I've also noticed that my countdown clock is not on, so I have no idea when I'm done. So this room is mine, right, forever. I'm going to take a brief interlude and talk to you about what I call the accidental research report, Mind Over Money. Fun fact, I got ChatGPT to name it for me. I was like, give me a suggestion that talks about these things. I thought it's quite a smart title, Mind Over Money. And so at Wagestream, like I say, part of my job is primary research. And I was doing some work to try to dig into the demographic characteristics of our membership, who are typically frontline workers working in sectors where you have to go to work, like healthcare, hospitality, retail, security, cleaning. And so they're frontline workers, and I was looking at how do their different demographic characteristics impact their money management behaviors. So do we see different money management behaviors based on, gender or age or household role, and how does that affect spending and saving? And I found something really interesting that I wasn't expecting to find. And this data was collected in the height of cost of living. And what I found was that our app members in this research were consistently reporting that they were spending less. And so this is a workforce, this is a base who on average earn £1,400 a month in take-home pay, have quite a lot of volatility in their earnings. And this was when food price inflation was around 20% when I was collecting this data. And they were spending less, right? Nearly 80% were reporting they were spending less. And this is an app that they had access to that enabled them to get paid more frequently if they chose. And they were generally using that feature. So people who were choosing to get paid more frequently, as food price was at 20%, were spending less. And when I looked at the qualitative side of it, there was a couple of reasons. There were some really functional reasons, like they were able to take advantage of a sale, or they were able to pay their bills on time and not pay late fees. But I saw predominantly emotional and behavioural reasons. People spoke about feeling more in control, feeling calm, not panic buying, being able to make good money decisions, feeling like they understood their budget. And even for the people who were spending more, I looked at their information and their qualitative research, and a significant proportion spoke of spending more for really positive reasons, feeling confident to meet their needs, knowing they could afford to pay a particular bill on time, feeling able to indulge in a luxury because they had a clearer line of sight over their income and their financial situation. And so this report I'd been writing about these demographic characteristics and all that interaction with spending and saving, I stuck it in the bin and I started again. And I was like, this is the story I want to dig into. And I found this phenomenon that explained my research findings, because I was like, how is this happening? How are people who have very little income, who are choosing to be paid more frequently during the height of food price inflation, spending less? And this was my answer that I found, this number 13. Now, I've been talking about this number 13 for the better part of a year now. I've become somewhat obsessed with it, so you might know what it refers to. This is the bandwidth tax, and actually this is the price of financial stress. And it's not measured in pounds or dollars, if you picked up my Canadian accent. It's not measured in time. It's not measured in time off work or time being ill. It's not measured in productivity or absenteeism or presenteeism. It's measured in IQ points. This is the impact, this is the cost of financial stress for individuals. It costs on average 13 IQ points, and this is a bandwidth tax. When you are preoccupied with something that is scarce, so when money is scarce, when you are giving over mental energy to the challenges and the urgencies of juggling the kind of pressures of managing everyday life, with scarce resources, you create this unconscious fixation. It's things like, should I pay that bill on time, or should I keep the cash in case something comes up? School holidays are coming up. Do I put the kids in camp, or do I take time off work? Can I afford to do that? What are the costs of camp? There's a sale going on at the grocery store right now. Can I afford to buy that right now? Should I just not pay that one thing or pay that late? Can I borrow money from somewhere? How do I pick up that extra shift? Can I afford to put petrol in the car to get to work to pick up the extra shift? Do I call in sick so this can happen? And that constant juggling and that constant fixation is expensive, right? 13 IQ points can take you from average intelligence down to a category known as borderline deficient, or if you flip it, from average to superior intelligence. And it's not just your intelligence, it's not just your cognitive capacity, it's also your decision making and your executive function. It affects your impulse control. You're more likely to be rash, shout at your kids, shout at a customer, make a bad decision, make a financial choice that's unproductive for yourself. You're more likely to have a hard time sticking to health behaviors, grab the brownie, not the apple, right? So this sort of loss of executive function is also really important in decision making. And so imagine if you could lift the IQ of your employee base by 13 points. Think about that 1 in 5 people who are worrying about money every single day. And so this concept, this bandwidth tax, these 13 IQ points, this is known as scarcity mindset, okay? And anything can be scarce. Time can be scarce. We've all felt that when you're under time pressure and you can feel kind of your heart rate's up and you're being sloppy. That's when you send the email about the person to the person, those kinds of mistakes that come in. The thing with Money scarcity and financial scarcity, though, is it's persistent and it's pervasive. It doesn't go away. When you're juggling scarce resources, you cannot catch a break. And the impact of that is worse money decisions, which makes the scarcity mindset worse. It doesn't go away. It's really, really difficult to cope with. And like I say, you've got increased impulsivity, irritability, anxiety. You're making poor decisions, and you're unable to make productive mid to long-term decisions. You're constantly dealing with the hair on fire moment. And I'm going to read this out to you. I know you can probably see it because it's very, very big, but here's who pays the price of a scarcity mindset, just in case you need glasses at the back. Globally and in the UK, women are more likely to experience poverty, be financially excluded, have a credit score that is lower than men, be paid less, accumulate less wealth, spend more time caring for children, be financially responsible for children, be responsible for financial management in their household. It's a heavy burden, and it comes at a high, high price. And what we see in our data, in terms of who's experiencing scarcity mindset, in our base of low to moderately paid frontline workers, 6 out of 10 are working part-time, and they're experiencing fairly substantial volatility in their pay. That's more than double ONS norms. 7 out of 10 are on hourly pay, so they're being paid by the hour rather than a steady salary. That comes with 2 things. One is that, again, that volatility. So the average volatility in hours worked is 37 hours month to month. That's over £400 swing in cash. So that comes with that volatility, but also comes with a shifting payday. When you're paid hourly, you tend not to be paid on the same day each month. You tend to be paid most typically every 4 weeks. So every 4 weeks your pay lands. Again, imagine managing scarce resources with volatile pay on a payday that's constantly rolling. 8 in 10 of our membership base earn less than the UK's national median wage of, I think it was £34,963 last I looked. I'm looking at Jake like he knows the answer right off the top of his head. Sounds about right. And nearly two-thirds, 64%, are women. This is what our membership base looks like in these sectors of healthcare, hospitality, retail, support services, working part-time, experiencing volatility, earning less than the national median wage. Okay, and these women, what we found in our research, they were substantially more likely to be the main or only bill payer in their household. So they were in charge of financial management. They were more than twice as likely to be looking after dependent children, and in fact 7 times as likely to be a single parent. They were actually doing a good job of trying to save and put some money aside. They were about 15% more likely to be saving, but equally more likely to have £0 available in savings balance because of that financial burden, because of that caring burden. And so it's probably not surprising that these women were 7 percentage points more likely to worry about money consistently on a frequent basis, and half as likely to feel confident about their financial future, to feel like they were on track for a secure financial future. So this is who's paying the price of this bandwidth tax, this scarcity mindset. But here's the good stuff. Okay, we can do something about it, and I kind of want to spend the bulk of my remaining 5 minutes talking about how we can tackle a scarcity mindset. And coming back to that really early finding in this Mind Over Money report, you can grab a copy at stand 23. Which was what people were spending less. So what was going on, what was happening in our ecosystem that was enabling people to spend less and to feel better about their money. So the first thing was visibility. So we offer a toolkit that lets people see what their pay is as it accrues. You don't have to offer our toolkit. You can offer visibility in other ways. So guaranteed hours, fixed term contracts. You can subscribe to the Living Wage Foundation's Living Hours standard. So committing to publishing people's hours 4 weeks in advance, giving people a contract that reflects the hours they work, and paying them if a shift is cancelled at short notice. You can give visibility in that way, and you can give predictability in that way too. People know what's coming down the pipe. The other thing we saw in terms of predictability was enabling people to actually build a rainy day savings pot. So enabling people to save from their pay in a really consistent, effective manner, so they had something to fall back on when they needed that. So they knew that they could cope with a financial squeeze if it came along, and also helping people tap into the £23 billion of unclaimed state support each year. So giving them a predictable income flow that kind of matched up with their income. So kind of visibility and predictability were two things that were really important, that we saw that were helping people alleviate this feeling of scarcity and alleviate the financial stress associated with juggling this volatile income. And the last piece we saw, we call it alignment. So aligning incomings and outgoings. And there's a well-known in kind of academic circles, Professor Anandi Mandi at Oxford University, who's written a lot about scarcity mindset. And she speaks about if you can turn a repetitive effort into a one-time effort, so well-aligned, well-timed income and expenditure requires less mental bandwidth to manage than income and expenditure that's misaligned. So again, think back to who I'm describing in our base, people who are on hourly pay, their payday is shifting, they have quite a lot of volatility in their earnings. And so this was the thing that was really interesting for me, which is using one part of our toolkit, the ability to get paid, on demand when you choose to be paid, was allowing that alignment to happen, and people were responding by reducing their stress and spending less. But there are other ways you can think about allowing that alignment to happen in a workforce. Again, you can think about, or even financial services, you can think about what sort of salary deducted benefits you offer, how you can make it easy for people to hit consistent expenditures through a payroll process. You can think about, again, how you give people the tools to enable them to be sort of included and to access those things, whether you're offering emergency grants at work or workplace loans or a broader financial wellbeing toolkit. There are things you can do to support people to have that alignment in their kind of working and financial lives. And I think it's really important, I represent the financial services and fintech sector. There are things that we can do as a sector as well to design products that take these needs into consideration. So this is sort of my call out to any of the financial services firms who might be in the room or watching later. Getting a really deep understanding about the financial lives of your workforce and the financial lives of, in fact, the majority of Britain's workforce, people in frontline work, people doing shift-based work, is really important in terms of designing really effective products. And I'll give you one clear example of that, which is most credit card products. Your repayment day is the same day every month, right? Your statement day, it's always the 23rd or something. It feels like it's designed to catch you out. It would be really, really easy for banks to build a credit card where the payday moved with your repayment day, right? They can see your net salary coming in. It would be really, really easy to design a product that aligned with when people are actually liquid, rather than designing a product that doesn't take that into consideration. I know it's easy because we built one already, right? It can be done. So just thinking about the financial needs of Britain's frontline workforce and Britain's typical worker makes it incredibly easy. I want to close with two last things. The first is, this was a piece of exploratory research. Like I said, it was accidental. And you can download it here. It was accidental. I didn't set out to write this. It gave me some surprise findings. I have this morning, in partnership with a leading university, launched the world's first field study into what this looks like at work. So we're beginning to collect data as of this morning to measure this in the field. I had a hypothesis based on what I saw that this is what was going on, and the results indicated that was the truth, but we are now actively looking to measure that and say, well, what's going on, and how much are we alleviating that? How much are we changing the way people think about and manage their money, and can we measure the impact of a financial well-being toolkit in the workplace? My second shameless plug, and then I'm going to wrap up, is I've seen people like nodding along in here as I've been describing these financial lives and going, oh, I didn't know that. I've just launched a podcast, the Invisible Worker podcast, which specifically gets into these topics. What are the financial lives of the majority of Britain's workplace? I know Helen's seen it at the gym. It was very motivating, wasn't it, Helen? So I would love you to go to the Invisible Worker podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and have a listen and really start to get that deep understanding of the challenges that some of the workforce are facing and how you as employers might start to tackle them. Thank you very much. I'm going to wrap up from here.
Lovely.